Hello, everyone, and welcome to San Diego Market Movers Question of the Week. Today we have the one and only Kevin Bose. How's it going, Kevin?
Doing awesome. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you for being here. So I have a question for you today. Where would you advise a family with young children to buy in San Diego, and why?
Great question. Yeah, so there's a lot of factors that somebody's going to consider when they're making this decision, and probably the biggest would be price, location, what are the deal breakers for them, and then how long-term their outlook is, like what is their long-term plan. So, first step in this process is definitely pre-qualified with a lender, so you can figure out kind of your minimum, maximum price point, see what you qualify for. Some of the thresholds people are looking to achieve to qualify is usually like a 680 credit score, maybe earning about 70,000 and hopefully have about $70,000 in the bank, although you can get gift funds from family members, for a purchase. But if you look at the price points throughout San Diego, if you're qualified to about $500,000, I would recommend somebody try to get like a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo. At $600,000, I would recommend more of like a 3-bedroom townhome potentially that you could have. And then if you're at $700,000, I think then you could shoot more for a single-family detached. So it depends on the price point. Some of the areas in terms of those pricing that I'd be looking at for people would be potentially La Mesa, Santee, Kearny Mesa, Poway, San Marcos, Vista, Serra Mesa. So there's tons of great submarkets within San Diego. The schools are always going to be a really big factor for people with young families. So a lot of times, people are basically trying to get into as much house as they can in the nicest area that they possibly can. And it really depends on the price point of where they're going to be looking. But in terms of location, the commute is really going to be a big factor, for the parents. So I think like just to, if you want to like really need to get into a single family, I don't think it's worth it to go all the way out to like El Cajon or Santee if it's going to be too far. If you're working over in La Jolla or UTC, like
Right.
you really need to be pretty close to where you're living. But then, some people are really wanting to have a yard and have a single family detached home. But, if you're only qualified at like $600,000, it's going to most likely be a good amount of deferred maintenance on that property that you really want to budget about 1% of the purchase price per year in terms of some of the upgrades that you're going to be doing,
Okay.
where you're, some of the vanity upgrades in terms of countertops and bathrooms, but also, the biggest expenses are typically roof and electrical and plumbing. So when you have a condo, the downside of a condo would be that sometimes you have shared hallways or you're dealing with the association, and some people just don't want to deal with the homeowners association. But then of course you have less maintenance to deal with a condo and a townhome. So I'm a big fan of townhomes in that you a lot of times only have like one shared wall. You can find something that has lower HOA fees, hopefully built a little bit more recently. You'll notice a lot of times with the older condos that the HOA fees go up and up and up. But to start out, I would try to get the best location you possibly can for the money, potentially a townhome. And then what's great is you can lock in such a good interest rate right now that if your family is growing or you kind of grow out of the property, you can potentially keep that property as a rental, even though you've already qualified as a primary residence. Maybe you're there for 2 years. And what I've noticed is a lot of times in this market that's been increasing, people will often sell the first home that they purchase to then use that down payment for a bigger home, whether it's a nicer area, single family detached, that type of thing. But also, if there is a correction in the market and you have a condo or a townhome, it's something where you could just hang on to that property, then use it as a rental, outsource that debt to a tenant. And if the market is down, ideally you're in the ability, having the ability to save up for another property. And then not only do you have your first property that you've turned into a rental, and then you have a new primary residence as a move-up property.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a ton of different options, and it depends on each person's scenario, right, from what you're saying. And just let's figure out what's the best opportunity for you and your family right now. And then it can always, you can always scale it up or, using something as an investment property that you buy right now. So there's options, right, Kevin? If they have any questions, they should come to you.
Happy to love working with buyers, especially first-time home buyers. It's a great milestone, and it seems like you work with the different criteria that people have, and more times than not, you're able to find just the right house for them. And in this market, it is a good amount of work, but it pays off when they can enjoy that property throughout the future.
Yeah, of course. And with your experience, you can bring a lot to the table just beyond, your average realtor. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love working with them where sometimes then that property, I then, manage that property for them, help them get into the next one. And yeah, whenever people can hang on to their property and have it as an asset, I'd love to see them just not sell it and hang on to it for part of their portfolio.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Kevin.
Thank you.
Yeah. That was Kevin Bowes with San Diego Market Movers Question of the Week.